The text came in while I was standing in line at Wawa, waiting for my hoagie. It said, "Hey, just a heads up. I'm bringing Ryan to your uncle's Labor Day barbecue. He's been going through a lot lately and doesn't really have anywhere to go right now. Just be cool, okay?" I stared at the screen like she'd sent me a picture of a car crash and asked me to compliment the paint job. My name's Tom. I'm 28, live in Wilmington, Delaware, and apparently I date women who think bringing your ex to your current boyfriend's family event is normal behavior. Melissa and Ryan broke up years ago, but they'd stayed friends. I'd always had a bad feeling about him. He was around too much. Random texts, inside jokes I wasn't part of. He even helped her move last spring when I was working double shifts. I asked if it was weird. She said I was insecure. Now she wanted to drag him to the most important family event of my year, the barbecue my uncle throws every Labor Day. Big backyard party, all my cousins, grandparents, my parents, their friends. It's not casual. It's not just swing by. It's sacred. And she knew that. I replied, "Cool. I'll let them know." But I didn't mean what she thought I meant. I went home, sat down at my kitchen table, and stared at the RSVP form my uncle sent out. Then I picked up my phone and texted my mom. "Hey, just found out I've got mandatory training that weekend. Totally forgot. I won't be able to make the barbecue." She replied fast. "What? Really?" They were so excited to see Melissa again. Yeah, I'll bet. That night, instead of putting money aside for the new phone Melissa kept casually bringing up, the iPhone she said hers was randomly glitching and might die soon, I booked a solo trip to Seattle. Round trip, direct flight, decent hotel. I'd never been. I figured now was as good a time as any. When I closed the laptop, my heart was still pounding. But it wasn't from nerves. Felt good. Not just walking away, but doing it quietly. Let her walk in there with Ryan and figure it out. I wasn't gonna stop her. But I sure as hell wasn't gonna stand next to her, either. By the time I boarded the ferry out of Bainbridge Island, Melissa had already texted me 6 times. "What's the vibe again? Casual or like dressy casual? Do you think your uncle has a beer preference? Ryan's gonna bring those sour cream chips your cousin likes. That's cool, right?" I didn't respond to any of them. I sat outside on the upper deck, sipping a hot coffee in the wind, watching the water churn behind us. The messages kept coming. "Hey, you good? Haven't heard from you. You get my texts? Tom." Yeah, I got them. I just didn't know her a damn thing. Labor Day rolled in warm and sunny. I got up late, walked Pike Place, grabbed a sandwich, and caught another ferry just to see the skyline from the bay. That's when the panic text started. 2:03 p.m. "Your mom just said you're not coming. What the hell? Why didn't you tell me?" Tom. Answer. "I'm literally here." I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I took a picture of the water and posted it on my Instagram story with no caption. About an hour later, my cousin Lisa called. I picked up just to see how bad it got. "Oh my God, Tom," she said. "What the hell is going on?" "You tell me," I said, sipping my iced tea. "They showed up. With chips. And a 12-pack of Coors like it was supposed to be cute or something. Your mom looked like she got slapped in the face." "She actually brought him?" I asked, even though I already knew. "Like it was no big deal. Told your parents you approved it. That you had to work. But you said it was totally fine for Ryan to come in your place." My jaw clenched. So she lied to cover her own ass. Big time. Your mom was polite. But you know that look she gets? Where her face doesn't move. But you can tell she's ready to drag someone into the backyard for a talk. "Yeah," I muttered. "I know the look." Lisa was just getting started. Then your Uncle Greg corners Ryan near the grill and starts asking questions. Like real interview style. What's he do for work? Ryan says he's in between opportunities, which is code for unemployed. Greg asks why you and Melissa broke up, and Melissa tries to laugh it off. But Ryan actually admits he cheated. "No way," I said. "He said that. Swear to God." Greg just goes, "Huh," and flips a burger. Then he asks where Ryan's staying these days. Ryan says his cousin's garage. Not apartment. Not guest house. Garage. I leaned against the ferry railing, shaking my head. Lisa kept going. Aunt Kathy walks up, points at Ryan and goes, "So, is this your new boyfriend? Or just a plus one from the past?" I almost choked on my drink. She said that? In front of everyone. Loud enough for my dad to hear from across the yard. I could picture it. Melissa standing there, smiling through gritted teeth, holding a plate she suddenly didn't want anymore. Ryan awkward as hell, trying to act chill while being grilled like the hot dogs. "You dodged a damn bullet," Lisa said. "It was a disaster." "Sounds like it," I said, staring out at the city skyline rolling past. "Also, your grandma asked who the hell he was. When she found out, she said, 'I thought she was dating that nice tomboy. What happened to him?' That one hit different." I heard Lisa's voice soften a little. "You good?" "I'm better than I've been in a long time." "Good." Because Melissa looked like she was gonna cry when your mom asked her why she'd bring an ex to a family cookout when her actual boyfriend wasn't even there. I smiled. "What did she say?" "She didn't. She just turned red and walked off." I ended the call a few minutes later, dropped my phone into my backpack, and let the wind take the rest of the day. I wasn't gonna reply. I didn't need to. She made her move, and she was the only one surprised when it blew up in her face. I landed back in Philly late Monday, tossed my bag on the floor, and crashed hard. Next morning, I opened my phone, scrolled through photos of the Space Needle and Puget Sound, and picked the cleanest skyline shot I had. Posted it with one caption: "Distance brings clarity." Didn't even take 5 minutes. My phone rang. Melissa. I let it go once, twice. She called a third time. I picked up. She was already mid-meltdown. "You couldn't have told me you weren't going. I walked in there with Ryan like an idiot." I stayed quiet for a second. Then I said, "You told me he was coming, and to just be cool. So I was. You ambushed me, Tom. You made me look insane in front of your whole family." "No," I said flat. "You did that all on your own." She sucked in a breath, and for a second I thought she was going to hang up. But she didn't. "I brought him because he needed something normal, something positive. You knew that. You used my family for damage control." I shot back. "You didn't even ask. You just told me, and expected me to smile through it. I didn't think you'd be so dramatic about it." I laughed once, sharp and humorless. "Right? Because nothing says drama like someone not wanting their girlfriend to drag her ex to a family barbecue. You knew I didn't mean anything by it." "Yeah? Then why'd you lie to my mom?" She didn't answer that. I hung up. Next morning, I was brushing my teeth when I heard banging on my apartment door. Not knocking. Banging. I looked through the peephole. Melissa. Hair in a bun. No makeup. Hoodie I left at her place months ago. I cracked the door just enough to put the chain in place. "I'm not doing this," I said. "We need to talk." Her voice was low but shaky. "You can't just shut me out." "I didn't shut you out," I said. "You shut me down when I said I wasn't comfortable, and then told me to deal with it. So I did. This is me dealing with it." She leaned in close. "You're being cold, Tom. This isn't you." "No," I said. "What's not me is being treated like an afterthought and smiling through it like a dumbass. That's done now." Tears started welling in her eyes. "I still love you. You don't even respect me," I said. "Love doesn't mean anything without that." She tried to push the door open. I didn't move. "You're really ending this?" she said, like the words physically hurt. "I already did," I said. "You just didn't notice." She stepped back, hands shaking. "You're making a mistake." "No," I said, and closed the door gently until the latch caught. I stood there for a second, staring at the handle, listening to the hallway go quiet. Then I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a coffee. I didn't look out the window. I didn't check my phone. Whatever meltdown she was about to have next, she'd have to do it without me. By Tuesday afternoon, she was already doing cleanup. Not with me, with everyone else. First person she called? My mom. I didn't hear it firsthand, but Mom filled me in that night when I stopped by to pick up my mail. She said you forgot to tell us Ryan was coming, Mom said, arms crossed, lips tight, like we misunderstood something. I blinked. So now it's my communication skills that failed? She said there was a mix-up. Mom went on, ignoring the sarcasm. I told her point blank. You lied. Tom told us days ago he wasn't coming. You just didn't think we'd compare notes. That's what I love about my mom. Polite, sure, but she doesn't play dumb. Melissa tried to spin it, and my mom shut it down without even raising her voice. 2 hours later, the post hit Facebook. When you try to do something nice and your man can't handle it. She showed up at my job during lunch like nothing had happened. I was walking back from 7-Eleven with a Gatorade when I saw her standing by the front steps, holding a white paper bag from El Gordo's. The second I spotted the red salsa stain on the edge, I knew what it was. My go-to combo. 3 tacos, extra cilantro, steak only. She smiled like it was cute. I didn't smile back. I brought lunch, she said. Can we talk? I didn't want a scene outside my office, so I nodded once and motioned toward the bench across the street near the bus stop. We sat. She handed me the bag like it was some kind of peace treaty. I didn't open it. She crossed her legs, brushed her bangs behind her ear, and said, I've been thinking. A lot. Okay. She leaned forward. I messed up. I know that. But you weren't perfect either. We both made mistakes, Tom. I stared straight ahead. This isn't about perfect. It's about respect. She sighed like I was being dramatic again. I just thought if we could talk, really talk, maybe we could work through this. I turned to face her. Melissa, you made a huge decision about our relationship, and you didn't even pretend to care what I thought about it. You didn't ask. You didn't explain. You just told me, and then expected me to deal with it. I didn't mean to. But you did it. I cut in. On purpose. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice. She shifted on the bench, still trying to keep her tone soft. You've always been easygoing. That's one of the things I love about you. That's not the same as being a pushover. Her face twitched like she wanted to argue, but didn't have a comeback. I picked up the taco bag and dropped it beside me on the bench. I'm not getting back with you, I said. She blinked, caught off guard. Wait, what? I'm done. We're done. You don't just get to drag your ex into my family's backyard, lie to everyone, and then act like we just had a minor communication issue. Tears welled up. I still love you. No, I said, keeping my voice even. You loved how I made you feel. You never respected me. That's not true. You didn't even give me the basic courtesy of saying, hey, I want to bring Ryan. Are you okay with that? You said he was coming and I should be cool with it. You treated me like a +1 to my own life. She wiped her face, mascara already starting to smudge. I didn't think you'd react like this. And that's exactly the problem, I said, standing up. She looked up at me like she expected me to take it back. I didn't. You can keep the tacos, I added. She opened her mouth, maybe to say my name, maybe to beg. I didn't stick around to hear it. I crossed the street and walked back inside like the door between us had already closed. Because it had. The taco bag was still sitting in the break room fridge when my phone lit up with a call from a number I didn't have saved. I answered on instinct. Tom? It's Karen. Melissa's friend. I sighed and leaned back in my chair. Okay. She's not okay, Karen said. She hasn't eaten in days. She's barely sleeping. You really need to fix this before something worse happens. I rolled my eyes. That's funny. Because I saw her in line at Baja Burrito yesterday double-fisting a quesadilla and a horchata. There was a pause. Then Karen snapped, You're being heartless. I'm being honest. Click. She hung up. 10 minutes later, I got tagged in an old Instagram photo. Melissa and me at a baseball game last summer. Me in sunglasses, her kissing my cheek. The caption. Remember when we were happy? Comments started rolling in. Her friends with crying emojis. One saying, Girl, he doesn't deserve you. I blocked her. Instagram, Facebook, everything. Snapchat too, even though I hadn't used it in months. She tried texting me again. Screenshots of old messages, photos of our dog park dates. One clip of us laughing in her car. I didn't reply, just deleted them all. By Friday morning, she took it to the next level. I was at work halfway through an Excel report when I got called into HR. My stomach dropped. "Tom," my manager said, trying to sound casual, "can you step in the conference room for a sec?" Inside, the HR rep smiled too politely. "We just got a call from someone claiming you've been acting erratic since coming back from vacation." I stared at them both. "You're kidding, right? We're required to check in when something like this is reported," she said. So I pulled out my phone, opened my time-off request emails, showed them the approval dated 2 weeks before Labor Day. Then I opened the texts from Melissa, the one where she said Ryan was coming, the one where she told me to just deal with it. Their expressions shifted fast. "Okay," the HR rep said, tapping her pen on the table. "If she contacts the office again, we'll have to file it as harassment. You've done everything by the book." My manager nodded. "You're good, Tom." I walked out of that room more annoyed than anything else. I'd cut her off, shut the door, walked away clean. But she wasn't trying to fix things anymore. She was trying to wreck them. And she just made it official. This wasn't a breakup. It was a full-blown campaign. Saturday afternoon, I was halfway through folding laundry when my phone lit up. I picked up, and before I could say anything, she said, "I'm putting you on speaker. Just listen." Then I heard it. Melissa's voice, shaky and desperate. "I just wanted to apologize. I really care about Tom, and I thought maybe if we talked in person." In the background, I could hear Ryan. "It's not like we came here to cause trouble." My jaw locked. My mom's voice cut through the noise, sharp and steady. "You need to leave." Melissa started, but Mom didn't let her finish. "You showed up uninvited. Again. With him. Again. What exactly were you hoping would happen here?" "We just thought," Ryan began. That's when I heard my dad step outside. You can always tell his boots hit the porch heavy. "You're a freeloader who eats our food and hits on our family," Dad said, calm but louder than necessary. "You think that's gonna play well twice?" "I didn't hit on anybody," Ryan said, defensive now. Dad snorted. "You're 30, unemployed, and crashing barbecues. You're not exactly impressive, son." There was a long pause on the line. Then Melissa, her voice breaking. "Tom was supposed to be my soulmate. I just wanted to fix it. I know I messed up." My mom didn't even flinch. Soulmates don't show up with their exes after being told to stay away. Silence. Just the wind and maybe a car passing by in the background. Then my dad, final and firm. "If you don't leave, I'll call the cops." Again. Okay, we're going," Melissa said quickly. I didn't say a word. Just listened to the sound of their footsteps fading and the front door closing behind them. My mom came back on the phone, no speaker this time. "They're gone." "Thanks," I said. "She looked like hell," she added. "But that's her problem now." I hung up and sat back on the edge of the bed, staring at the phone in my hand. It wasn't even shock anymore. Just exhaustion. Like she'd gone from drama to delusion in record time. Whatever story she was telling herself, it didn't involve reality. The email came Monday morning. Subject line, "Closure and accountability." I knew it was going to be good the second I saw it. Melissa wrote 3 full paragraphs about how I'd destroyed her image, publicly humiliated her, and triggered lasting emotional distress. At one point, she claimed I'd weaponized silence, which made me laugh out loud at my desk. She ended it with an itemized list, no joke, asking me to reimburse her for $18.50 in gas, $45.29 for snacks and drinks for the barbecue, and $300 for emotional damage plus lost time. I sat there, read it twice just to be sure, and then opened Venmo. I sent her a request for $90. For missed weekend shift, I had to trade for Seattle trip. I added a taco emoji for flair. 5 minutes later, I was blocked. Not just on Venmo. Everywhere. Text, email, social. It was like I got erased. But she wasn't done. By Friday, word got around she'd invited our whole friend group to dinner at some mid-tier Italian spot. The invite said she wanted to set the record straight. I didn't go. Didn't need to. Jess, mutual friend of ours, not the same Jess I'm dating now, texted me the play-by-play. She started talking about how broken she was and how you just ghosted her out of nowhere, she wrote. Then came the twist. One of the girls, Rachel, I think, just goes, "Wait, you brought Ryan to his family barbecue without telling him first?" According to Jess, the whole table went dead quiet. Melissa tried to recover, said something about Ryan being part of her past and her healing. Whatever that means. Half the group backed away politely. The rest just went quiet and stopped replying to her messages altogether. Didn't take long for the final nail to drop. Melissa and Ryan made it official. Facebook relationship status and everything. Couple selfies. Matching coffee mugs. Hashtag new beginnings. A week later, someone told me they were both living in her tiny one-bedroom apartment. The one she used to complain about being too cramped for even one person. Guess now it's her and a guy who owns 2 garbage bags of clothes and a dream. No job. No car. No real friends left in our circle. But hey, love wins, right? I didn't reach out. Didn't comment. Didn't even react. Because honestly, I didn't need to say a word. It had been 3 weeks since the barbecue. And honestly, life felt lighter. My parents still brought it up at least once a weekend. Always followed by some sarcastic remark like, "You think Ryan needs a ride to Thanksgiving?" My Aunt Kathy, never one to let things die quietly, made a meme. She took a blurry photo from the party. Ryan holding a paper plate like he just realized he didn't belong, and slapped the caption on it, "Free food and broken boundaries." Sent it to the whole family group chat. My grandma didn't get it, but she laughed anyway. My sister, petty genius that she is, changed our parents' guest Wi-Fi name to No X's Allowed. Passwords still not Ryan 2023. Melissa still hadn't paid me back. Not for the trip, not for the shift, not even for the tacos she left in the break room fridge. But I didn't care. I started seeing someone new. Jess. Met her at a trivia night downtown. I was sipping a beer, waiting on fries, and she dropped a Mean Girls quote mid-round that made the whole table laugh. We grabbed drinks after. I told her the whole story. She blinked twice and went, "Wait, she brought her ex to your family party without asking." I nodded. She laughed so hard she almost choked on her cider. "Wow, that's next level stupid." Then she asked, "So what did you do?" I said, "I flew to Seattle." She raised an eyebrow. "You should have gone to Tokyo." Bigger flex. I think I'll keep her. Last week, I got a LinkedIn alert. Ryan viewed your profile. Next day, Melissa. I didn't block them. I updated my title instead, Senior Project Coordinator. Because sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need to move forward and let them sit in the mess they made.